everyone. Welcome to Comics with Bueller. As always, I'm Bueller. Today is episode 132 of the brand new Coffee and Comic Show. And look at this. Bob is back after like a month. Bob, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm still recovering from surgery.
Yep.
Not 100%. So I'm starting to feel a lot better. I think the worst of it's all behind me.
Yeah, you had something wrong with your mouth, right?
I did. I had pretty extensive surgery. They ended up taking out three teeth, and one of them they looked at my actual jaw to see if they had to pull decay out and possibly take a piece of my jaw out.
Oh, great.
Didn't have to go for any type of bone graft or anything like that.
Gross.
So very happy about that. So everything went as well as I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
And I'm recovering nicely now. So everybody, thank you very much for all the well wishes and prayers and messages you guys have sent me. You guys are awesome and I love you. Thank you so much.
There you go.
But having said that, it is so freaking good to be back in the studio and hanging out with you, my friend.
It is, man. It's been like a month. It's been like a month since we saw each other. Last time we saw each other was at Washington State SummerCon.
That's right.
And you were dressed up as some pimp or something like
Some
that.
pimp. That's right.
That was pretty cool. But let me be the first one to tell you got a pretty mouth.
What?
You got a pretty mouth.
All right. Where'd that come from?
It's some movie or something like that.
You kill me, man.
Anyway, somebody might pick up on that one.
I know what movie it's from, but it's like, my gosh.
Well, you got mouth. You got your mouth fixed, so you got a pretty mouth.
I appreciate that.
There you go. I do want to say thanks to Damien, who stepped in last week. Fellow Portland Comic Crew member. Took me a couple years to get him on the show, and he finally came on. He did a great job. So thank you, Damien, Sleepy Reader 666. You know, a lot of people said it was pretty funny. It's like, you know, Bob's here. He's a pastor, and you have someone fill his shoes, and his name is Damien, Sleepy Reader 666. And I'm like, just so you guys know, we're all friends.
Yes, we
are.
all
love each other and stuff. And we're all got each other's back. So
absolutely.
I'm pretty sure he had your blessing, right?
He did. He had my blessing. And Damien, you did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
I loved watching the show last week while I was recovering. And but it's good to be back.
Yeah, exactly. We always start with the coffee we're drinking. We're cheating.
We're cheating. So just so you know, Mocha Express is our favorite. Mocha Express, if you're in town, let us know. We'll buy you a coffee there. But Bob called me up. He's like, I'm getting my special thing. It's available today. So what did you get from Starbucks? So this is one of the only drinks I get from Starbucks. Okay. So I'm not a fan of their coffee. But this is a pumpkin cream cold brew. Okay. It's my favorite thing I get from there. And it's my first one of the year. And it is so tasty.
It is. Okay.
It is.
And I have the same thing, right?
You got the same thing.
All
you
right.
wanted to try it out? Try it out.
That's pretty good.
Pretty good, isn't it?
Pretty good. They can't make this at Mocha Express?
I don't think they...
Just ask.
Okay, I'll ask.
And they will do it for you.
You know, of course, next weekend when I go in, I'll be asking them when the eggnog is coming out.
Because... Oh, yeah, that's true. That's hopefully around the corner. But it's not bad. I like it. But we will ask Mocha Express to see if they can make the same thing.
There we go.
I bet you they can. And it'll be made with love.
As they always do.
Even better.
Absolutely.
So there you go. Let's go ahead and do a rundown on the show really quick. We'll start off with some announcements and thank yous. We'll follow that for the first 5, brought to you by Bird City Comics. We'll also have our topic brought to you by Black Box Comics. And our topic today is comic book questions. Questions about comic books. We do this every 4 months. Mm-hmm. And we just ask our audience who watches our videos, if you have any questions, nothing's off limits. Some of them get pretty interesting. But if you have any questions about us or about comic books, that's what we're going to do. And we actually took all the questions and we're going to answer every single one of them.
That's
awesome.
awesome.
So there you go. That's kind of what the trend is. We have our final 5 brought to you by Bird City Comics. And then we'll do our Was It Good segment. That's where we review some of the books we read this week and we talk about the books that we're going to read next week. And then we'll have our random thoughts. And I'm going to ask some questions about CGC to Bob. He doesn't know what they are, so...
All right.
But, you know, he does CGC. And there's some things I heard about CGC, and I want to know if he can confirm them or not. So we'll just live in the moment, I guess.
Sounds good.
We don't have a mystery box segment for this week, but next week we will have a mystery box segment. But that's a quick rundown of the show. So let me go ahead and get to our announcements and thanks yous. First things first, next week is very special. Because next week I will not be sitting in this chair.
Oh, it's next week we're doing this.
Yes,
huh?
next week. Next week, Bob is rotating over to this side. And Jennifer from Comics Will Break Your Heart will be the co-host.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then I will be behind the camera telling them what to do and how to do it.
Bueller's directorial debut.
I'm looking forward to it, so you guys better step up.
Here we go.
So, that's going to be your first official full hosting thing.
That'll be awesome.
The Coffee and Comics show.
Jen and I are going to rock it, bro.
I'm really looking forward to it. Jennifer's wonderful. She does a great job. But you got to do something real quick. You got to, over the next couple days, you got to let me know what the topic is. This is your guys' show. Do whatever you want, and because I'll announce it on the preview video. So do me a favor, get that to me, and then it's from there on. That's your guys'.
Sounds good to me.
And it should be interesting. I'm looking forward to just doing the directing and stuff like that. But
Cool.
It'll be on this set, so it'll be the same thing and everything. So there you go. So I'm excited for that. I also want to say this. I announced this before. My Indiegogo campaign hasn't started yet, but it's going to start very soon. It's for the new exclusive I'm going to be doing with Dynamite. If you guys want to sign up for the newsletter, I'll put a link right here. You can sign up for it. It doesn't mean you have to buy it. It's just the newsletter, so you get all the information when it comes out. And trust me, over the next week or so, a lot of information will come out exactly what it is. And as soon as I get the information to share with you guys, I'm going to do it because I'm pretty excited about this. Bob knows all about it. He's pretty excited about it as well. So keep an eye out, and like I said, sign up for the newsletter. You'll be up to date.
Yeah, that sign up is quick and easy, so it's not something that's very detailed.
Yeah, it's just your email and that's it.
Exactly.
I didn't even know about it. I was like,
oh, really?
It was already up before I even know about it. So they're ahead of it. They're quicker than I am.
Yeah.
So thank you, Dynamite. I also want to say we're still going to be doing auctions. We're going to be doing auctions for the next few weeks until all the collection is gone. We just did the auctions over this past weekend. Did phenomenal. Thank you, everyone. All the books are going to be shipped out by tomorrow. That's the goal. So I want to say thank you for everyone who's paid so far. If you haven't paid yet, please go ahead and jump on that so I can get you your books. That's why you bid on them, because you wanted them. And I can't send them to you until you pay for them. So that's kind of the deal. And if you haven't given me your address, jump back in there and send me your address and all that good stuff. But more auctions to come. This coming weekend is Marvel. And we'll see how far we can get on that. I don't know. I mean, we did really well. So,
yeah.
But there's like 25 boxes left. So, a
Awesome,
lot of
man.
great stuff. So, we're probably going to start off with X-Men this coming Friday. So, we'll do the X-Men boxes first. So, if you
Friday
want
night's X-Men night.
Yeah, it'll be. There's a lot of X-Men in
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah.
So, I also want to say thank you to the super chats from last week for the coffee video. I think we got a super chat from the Road Trader. He always does super chat. That's our buddy. If you want to get any pressing done, you can just contact him. It's the Road Trader Utah.
RoadTraderUtah.com, and if you use the code everything20, you get 20% off your first purchase.
Yeah, and I think he offered to do even a special discount if you buy something in my auction. You get like a
30% discount.
30% off or something like that. So there you go if you want to get the books pressed. So thank you to the Road Trader, who I believe is coming down here for Rose City.
Woo!
And we get to hang out at the Comic-Con. So that
Looking forward to that.
I also want to say thanks to our Patreons as well. We have a new Patreon, Chris J. His last name is in there, but it's really long, and I don't want to say the whole thing, so I'm just going to say Chris J. Thank you so much for joining our Patreon. Our Patreon is the price of one comic book a month. If you think we're worth one comic book a month, go ahead and join our Patreon. It keeps the lights going and the wheels rolling.
The wheels rolling. I love it,
So
man.
there you go. So thank you to all the Patrons and our newest one, Chris J. as well. Okay, that's all the announcements I think I got up to date. So let's go ahead and jump to our first five, brought to you by Bird City Comics. Bob, go ahead and go first, my friend.
Sure thing. I'm just going to go with all recent pickups that I've got lately. And so let's just start with a little Silver Age here. I got Daredevil number 53.
First thing before you go on to the next one there, Bob, we're working on a skeleton crew right now because I have a whole setup for the auction next to us. So we only have the one camera, so we just might zoom in. We don't have the second camera, and the lights are a little bit different. So things look a little different. It's because I just have a skeleton crew right now, and I don't want to mess up the whole setup for the auction. And so that's why it looks a little different. So sorry, go ahead, Bob.
No problem.
All right.
So the other one I got is another series that I'm really starting to collect right now is the Infinite Kung Fu by Kagan McLeod.
Nice.
This is awesome stuff. This one I got at Washington State Summer Con. This is Teen Titans number 12, which you all know is the first appearance of the Batman Who Laughs.
He was so excited to get
I
that.
was
He
excited.
so
I got it for a good price. And then we got another Fantastic Four Silver Age book. One of the first ones with Daredevil ever. And a blind man shall lead them. Fantastic Four number 39. Love that. And then you guys know how much I love Canto. I got the Canto 1 in 10 of issue number 2 of Lionhearted, and that is one of my favorite Canto covers that has come out. So that's my first five.
Do you have all the Canto books?
Yes, I do.
The whole
Everything.
exclusive?
Yep.
Even the foreign ones?
Not the foreign ones.
Yeah, that's too bad.
Yeah, gosh.
All right, man. Let's move on to my first 5 right here. First things first, man, you got a present.
I do.
Yeah. And this is from 9 Square Inches. I'm just going to give it to you right now.
Awesome.
You can take a look at that.
Thank you very much, my friend.
Look at that.
Oh, man, you kidding me?
He gave me a shirt as well, so.
And I know whose artwork that is in the background. That is...
Careful.
I know. That is the artwork of Kagan McLeod, who did the Infinite Kung Fu I just showed.
Oh,
and
nice.
That's his artwork of Bruce Lee in the Game of Death shirt.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
That is awesome. So I got like a double fire here. I got my good buddy sent me a T-shirt, and I got Bruce Lee on it as well.
I'm sure no copyright laws were broken on that.
Not at all. I love it. Thank you, my friend.
Before I get started with my first 5, I just want to show this book. It's called The Introvert. And I don't know if you guys can see it right there, but it was actually sent to me by the author, Michael Paul Machad, Michaud. I don't know if
That's about right.
Yeah, that's about right. Anyway, I got to read this book. He sent it to me from Amazon or whatnot, so I want to say thank you. I don't know much about it. I got to read it, so awesome.
All right.
Give it a shot. Okay, my first 5. I'm going to do some little Daredevil action here.
Yes!
All right. The Origin of Daredevil. This is the final issue 612, the variant cover.
That's one I don't have. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
Look at that one. You know what's awesome about that? I'm going to give it to you.
What?
That's from Steve Whiting.
Are you kidding me?
Steve Whiting wants you to have that.
Dude, Steve, thank you, man. You are freaking awesome.
There you go.
Pretty, like.
He's like, do you think he has this one? I go, I don't know.
I don't. And so that makes that even more special. Steve, you're awesome, buddy.
Yeah.
Woo!
All right, my next one is actually Daredevil number 66.
Nice.
And that's actually for you as well. And
What?
unfortunately, I forgot who sent that to you.
What?
But if they're watching, say thank you to them.
Thank you very much.
They sent a
I'm
bunch
not
of
sure
stuff.
if I have this one either.
Yeah.
Oh, but appreciate it very much. Daredevil gifts going on today.
There you go. You're getting all sorts of gifts.
Shirts, Daredevil.
There you go.
You know what? I love you guys.
See, that's what happens when you're gone for a month. All right, these ones are not for you. These ones are actually my books. But these
All
are
right.
some Shannon Mayer goodness. King in Black number 1. Actually, I think you gave this to me.
I did.
So there you go. I think you gave me all these.
I did.
Harley Quinn number 1. All Shannon Mayer covers. And Wolverine number 3. So, yeah, like I said, I'm pretty sure you gave me all those.
So not to be outdone, your first 5 was all about gifts.
Pretty much, yeah. There you go.
That's awesome.
So that's our first 5 brought to you by Bird City Comics. You can go to their website, enter code Bueller. You get 10% off anything on the website, including, I believe they still have copies of the trade dress version of the Moon Knight. I think the other ones are all sold out. So if you want to get the trade dress version, I think that's still available. And there's a bunch of other stuff as well. All right, let's go ahead and switch gears to our topic. And our topic is brought to you by blackboxcomics.net. Go to their website, blackboxcomics.net. And in the code Bueller10, you save 10%. They got a bunch of stuff going on. Did you read that one book that they did, the Gin Hunter?
I did.
You like that one?
I dug it.
That's a genie, right?
It's a genie. Yes, it is.
Yeah, I found that out. Stuff like that. It's funny because you were showing it. I'm like, I got copies for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, he went and hunted it down and bought it, which is great because you're helping Black Box. But
Absolutely.
they actually sent a bunch of copies, so I got you covered, buddy.
Thank you. Appreciate
Even
that.
the special limited edition shiny cover.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you, Black Box Comics. Go check them out. And the code
Thank you.
Bueller10, you get 10% off. But let's go ahead and get to it. It's a Q&A, questions about comic books. And these are all questions that our audience gave us. We don't have as many as we've had in the past, which is fine, because we've literally had like 200 at one time, and the video was like 2.5 hours long. It was. So we're okay with the smaller batch. So anyway, Bob, guess what, man?
What?
You're up first.
Sweet. All right. So first question comes from Ghost Rider. He says, question for Bueller. Would you give Bob a big hug from all of us who missed him and have in our thoughts and prayers?
Air hug.
Air hug. There we go.
I'll do it later. We got a big microphone in between us. So there you go.
Thank you for all the thoughts and prayers, everybody, and thank you for the hug, my friend.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, next one comes from David Mason. He says, question for Bueller. So you are selling everything for this road trip. Does that include your house? How long is the test run that you are planning? What happens if the test run goes okay, but into your actual trip you start to hate the experience? What would the plan be then?
Okay, so the multiple questions here.
Mm-hmm.
Am I selling everything? Yeah, for the most part, I really am. I'm literally selling almost everything I own, 95% of what I own.
I'm selling some stuff, personal stuff, photos, stuff like that will go into storage. Some books I'm keeping in my collection, and I have some books in my collection that are worth quite a bit of money that were gifts. For the record, those are not going with me on the road. I'm not going to be known as the guy in the bus that has a Hulk 181 sitting on the bus. That's just not a wise decision.
Nope.
So those are going to go in a safe at my mother's house or somewhere like that, Makes sense.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
But for the most part, everything I own, my TV, my couch, you name it, I'm getting rid of everything. More to that question. Does that include your house? It does include my house. And here's the thing. There's a good chance that this gentleman right here might be the person who buys the house.
Yeah.
I don't own the house. The house I live in is actually owned by my mother and my uncle. I've talked to them. They want to sell it, and Bob is interested in buying it. Mm-hmm. We just got to connect the two and make things happen. And Bob might be... I said, are you going to keep the desk? He's like... He's got a wife, and the wife will veto that really quick.
Yeah.
But maybe something. I don't know, maybe cut it in half or something like that. Right. I don't know. So, there is a good possibility that the house stays here with the co-host of the Coffee and Comics video. So that's pretty cool. Let's see. How long is the test run they're planning? To be totally honest, this is what I'm planning on doing for a long time. This is not, I'll do a test run or whatnot, no big deal, but really, for the most part, I want to travel, and whether I travel for 5 or 10 years, I'd be more than happy doing it. Now, people ask, what if you don't like it? And that might be a possibility. Where do I go? My family has on my father's side, we own a big, huge piece of property with a private lake and a private setting or whatnot. My brother lives down there, my uncle lives down there, my dad, my sister has a house down there and stuff. There's always a place for me to go. And whether they've got RV hookups and all this, it's all private land or whatnot. It's just beautiful. And it's definitely the place I would want to retire as I get older. So that's always going to be there. It's been in our family for generations. So I always know whatever it is, there's a fallback there waiting no matter what. So that's why it's easy for me to make this decision.
Sure.
Because I do have a place to go. If I just need to take a month off from traveling, I just go pull up in my brother's driveway or whatnot out in the middle of nowhere. Really, it's in a very small town. There's like less than 3,000 people in this town, and it's gorgeous. I love it. It's been in my videos before. I've shot stuff from there. So anyway, I've got all the bases covered, so I'm good to go.
Awesome stuff, man. That was one of the first questions I asked you.
Yeah.
Right. I was like, well, what if you don't like it?
Yeah. That's it. This is kind of it. So anyway.
That's awesome.
All right. You're still up there, man.
Yeah, not a problem. Okay, so the next one comes from He Who Remains. Question for the panel. What is the best site to help monitor your collection and or pricing for books? I like to use Comics Price Guide. What are others?
There's that CLZ.
Yeah, CLZ.
CLZ app. I think that's probably the best one because it has every book. Or Key Collector, you can manage your collection, but obviously it's just keys or what they think are keys.
I think the goal of a key collector is to eventually go. So that
and we've said that.
Yeah,
we've said that they should just do everything.
Yeah, exactly.
And because it just makes sense. Because we've talked about like keys of the week that are keys that week that they put on there, and then like a month later you can't even find them on the app anymore. It's like, well, they were keys of the week. How come they're not keys anymore?
Right.
And it's just, that's a whole other conversation. We've hit on that before, but
for sure.
Anyway, I think those two are good options. What are some other ones that you?
I don't use any other ones.
You don't use any
I
other?
use CLZ exclusively. For me, I'm getting older, man.
Yeah.
It would be a bear for me to try to input everything into another app, and so I use CLZ exclusively, and it does really well.
There was another one called Zap Kapow, I think it was
I've
called.
seen that one.
And I think I used that one for a bit. And there's always, as far as pricing, there's always the trusted, the price guide or whatnot, Overstreet.
Yeah.
Which just came out with a new one. Obviously they're only once a year, but you know what? For a lot of books that are like older, they're pretty consistent on prices and stuff like that. And you can use them for that. This is really good for like common issues. For pricing common issues or whatnot, if you want to call them those.
The thing I like about CLZ the most is that feature where you can scan the barcodes, and it immediately brings up the title and everything, and it puts them in a repository.
Yeah.
That way you can go ahead and check what's there, and then you can upload them all at once. Love that feature.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, on a weekly basis, it saves me so much time. And so I'm deep-seated into CLZ.
Yeah. See, I don't use any type of thing because I'm just getting rid of everything sitting in there. All right, man.
All right, so the next one comes from, Rower Noah Zorro the Pirate Hunter. Love the name. Question for Bueller. Do we have the power to retcon Doomsday Clock? I mean, we must have had a... we must have a chance to make things right.
Okay, so I get every now and then I get this Doomsday Clock retcon spamming on the channel on the comments, and it's just it's stupid or whatnot. I don't know if they're being serious when it just ends up being spamming like 10 messages over and over from different profiles. Retcon Doomsday Clock. If you want to get your point across, do a question like that, and don't do a bunch of garbage attached to it. You know, if they're being serious, who cares? I don't care. You know, if this is your main thing in life is to get Doomsday Clock, as part of the retcon, you need to fill your life with some other stuff or whatnot. What's the big deal?
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know. I could care less, to be totally honest. So anyway, if you're one of the people that are spamming the Doomsday Clock, don't bother.
Yeah. I
just if you do that, I just block you, to be totally honest.
Yeah.
Because when I see 10 comments over and over and over, retcon Doomsday Clock, I block everyone who does it. I don't delete it. I block them because it's just garbage.
It's garbage. When you're spamming like that, it's garbage.
Yeah.
I did not like the Doomsday Clock series.
Really?
I just think that those franchises should be kept apart. And I don't know. I thought it was by the time we got to the end, to me it was horrible.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I understand people's wanting to retcon it.
Sure.
As far as I'm concerned, just drop it.
Yeah, sure.
All right, the next one comes from Nick Pierce. He says, Bueller, what was your reason or motivation behind starting your channel? And what made you decide to get back into collecting comics? This channel has been a huge part of getting me back into the hobby, so thank you and Bob for all that you do. You're welcome.
As far as the reason and motivation for the channel, when I first started, there wasn't. It was just, I wasn't doing anything. And I watched a couple of videos and I saw the people, talking about the comics. I just recently got back into comics because my buddy pointed out that there was a comic shop down the street and I hadn't been in one for over 25 years. And so I just went into that comic shop and bought a handful of comics and came home that day and said, I wonder if there's anything on YouTube about comic books. So I typed in comic books. Sure enough, there was a bunch of people doing some haul videos. So I just decided to make a video. Very shortly after, probably about 2 months later, I did a couple of videos that kind of did really well. Then I got notice from Wizard World of all cons, who are now no longer, they were sold or whatnot.
Yeah.
And they asked me to come and cover their con. I was like, well, that's kind of weird. But they saw some video I did with my niece doing sign language. They thought it was kind of interesting or whatnot. So anyway, at that point I said, okay, this might be something. And then I kind of had to put my focus on what I was doing and say, hey, if this does turn out to be something, I could really enjoy doing this and making a living. And that's kind of where it all came from right there. Just trying to have some original ideas. And I like to think that I had some original ideas at the very beginning and stuff, and kind of have rolled with that through the time. I mean, here's the thing. I'll just say it. I'm pretty proud that I've tried to think outside the box to make the video content. And then a lot of people, after seeing my stuff, let's just say they borrowed some of the ideas.
That's a nice way of saying it.
Which is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But every now and then you're like, and then some of them will borrow it and say that's their idea.
I've seen that too.
I'm like, okay, you can literally go 6 months earlier and find that, on my channel and stuff. It is what it is. That's the nature of YouTube. That being said, what I'm going to be doing next, people can't copy that.
No.
And that's one of my motivations.
Yeah.
Unless you want to change your life and go on the road. But then what I'm going to be next, nobody's copying me. And so it'll be truly original. And I challenge anyone to try to copy what I'm going to do next.
Next thing you know, you're going to have 2,500 buses across the country.
Exactly. But, so anyway. But, yeah, it's just, like I said, people copy or borrow. Like, I want to be nice or whatnot, because it is what it is. And it does get frustrating every now and then. But then I see what they're doing, and I'm like, it's not very good. So I don't worry too much about it, to be honest.
Yeah.
But anyway, the motivation for the channel was just getting that recognition and realizing that that this could be something that I could provide for my family and just kind of grow from there. And I'm going to enjoy doing it every step of the way. And if you can do something in your life that you enjoy doing and you can provide for your family and make a living, that is the goal in life.
Absolutely.
Nobody wants to go to work and be like, man, this place sucks. I can't wait to get off work.
Yeah.
You're there 10 minutes and you're all like, man, I hate this place. I can't wait until I'm done. I've done that. You've done that probably.
I have. That's why during the pandemic I loved working from home.
Yeah, and the goal in life should be the opposite of that, and that's what I've been able to do over the last 3 or 4 years. So
Yeah.
it's awesome.
Awesome stuff. Well, I'll just say you're one of the best idea men that I know. You always have creative and thinking outside the box, great ideas. I can't tell you how many people I know have called this guy up for ideas for their shows, and those shows are what they are today because of the idea that he gave them.
Yeah.
And so you're really good at that.
There's a lot of ideas I've never used.
This is true too.
And he knows, so I'm never out. For me, making content is not a problem. I have stuff out there that I've never done that could be just great, and maybe with this this new thing that I'm going to be doing, it might provide me the time to do it. So. Anyway.
Awesome stuff.
Good times.
All right. Next one comes from Brandon Allard. He says, important question number 1. How are you and Bob going to be able to keep doing the show together when the great road trip starts? I watch both your channels, but I want the package deal. Second, have you considered getting some of those cosplay covers painted on the side of your new van? I'm thinking of a hot girl in a skimpy outfit swinging a broadsword would get you noticed when you pull into a new town. And then third, I got a copy of that Roadhouse homage cover on order if you can't find a copy.
Awesome. That's a good question about what Bob and I's future is going to be. I still want to do stuff with Bob. Obviously, we're not going to be in the same place.
Yeah.
But we can always do it remotely.
Sure.
And very similar to like what I did with the Elvira interview. I recorded it, then I edited it, and I put the graphics in and tried to make it look really nice. We did the same thing with when we interviewed the guy from
Steve Borak.
Mm-hmm. We recorded that, edited it, put it together, and it turned out pretty nice. Mm-hmm. We can do that. We can still do that. I've thought about possibly like taking a picture of the set and then us doing like a green screen in the background, and we can superimpose each other,
that would
like
be
where
great.
we're sitting right now, and just record it, and then it'll take a little bit more work or whatnot, and maybe it won't be. I'll just be honest, maybe it won't be as consistent as what we do now.
Sure,
but it'll still have some form or shape. Now, another option is, and I'll just say this, and there's a reason why I'm having Bob be the host next week.
I knew it.
I don't mind handing the Coffee and Comics show off to Bob. Mm-hmm. And I would be honored if that was the case. Now, Bob is a busy guy. Bob, he works full time. He's married and all this stuff. So it's a whole nother wheelhouse what he would have to deal with. But I have no problem handing it over to Bob and Jennifer or whoever or what that is. And I would be honored if they continued that on. And then every now and then I might pop up or something like that. But that means you have to edit the damn video. And that's the big thing right there. So they might just do live ones or something.
I think this is all just a ploy so that you don't have to get rid of this. It needs to be kept.
It'll fit in the room. Just got to cut it a little bit.
Right.
So, anyway, what else was on that question?
Oh. Second, have you considered getting some of those cosplay covers?
Yes. But like not like drawings, like actual like never mind.
Right.
Cutouts or whatnot. That'd be cool. And I haven't got the Roadhouse homage cover yet, so I need to find that. So anyway.
That's awesome.
Very cool.
All right, next one comes from Toadman X. He says, question for both Bueller and Bob. If you could go back, would you be more involved in comics?
I like the way I'm involved right now. Mm-hmm. And because it's a way I've never thought I would be involved. I don't have the creative genes that the creators do as far as art, as far as storytelling. Maybe down the road, maybe I can come up with some type of story and kind of have someone help me with it. I would like to try or whatnot, but the artwork sure ain't going to be there. I've tried to do that again, and it just doesn't happen. So
it just doesn't happen.
But I really enjoy the involvement I am right now because I never thought I would be like this involved in comics. I mean, I'm friends with a lot of creators. I know publishers, in person or whatnot, and I get to talk about the new books that come out every week, and I get to share it with you guys that are watching and stuff. And I think it's pretty cool, because I always thought maybe I would be selling books or whatnot.
in the forum and just like a dealer, I don't really want to be a dealer. I want to sit there and talk about comics, and talk about what's going on and stuff. I enjoy that much better than selling comic books. And that's why I have no reservations about selling my collection, what I'm doing right now. Just get rid of them. I can still talk about comics.
Absolutely.
So just because you don't have it doesn't mean you can't talk about it and make YouTube stuff about it. So
exactly right.
There you go. So that's the way I look at it. What about
you? For me, I would say yes. There's an area that I found much later in life that I never knew that I had. About 4-5 years ago now, I had a pretty horrific surgery that put me basically in bed for about 8 weeks.
Yeah.
And the big craze at the time was adult coloring. And so I picked up those adult coloring books and bought myself, I did some research, bought myself a really nice set of pencils, because if you're going to do that, you have a nice set. And I watched just like 2 or 3 days of tutorial videos and a couple of color alongs, and I picked it up so quick.
Yeah.
And I'm so blown away by how natural it felt to me, and I never realized how much I love vibrant color. And if I would have done that back in the day, I would have definitely went to try to be a colorist in comics.
Oh, cool.
Absolutely. And so not being involved earlier, I think if I would have found that earlier, that's a path that I would have definitely taken.
That's cool.
And especially now you can do it digitally, just with the knowledge of understanding, how colors work. I think I would have taken to it like a fish in water.
Yeah.
And so there's that. And then I've talked to you, when we first got together, I talked to you, if I could just do something to let go of my day job so that I could do something in comics, I would. And this is still a hobby. I'm not making a living off of it.
Yeah.
But if I could make more money doing this type of stuff than I did doing my day job, I let it go in a hot second.
Yeah. Think about comic books, they don't give you a company car.
They don't. The company car is not given to me. I leased that puppy.
A pretty good deal. Huh?
It is a good deal.
Very cool. All right, what else we got?
All right, let's see. Next one comes from Marco Cruz. He says, what is the most wanted variants collective-wise? Like 1 in 25 incentives or A's and B's? Love the variety of comics, too.
I don't know. Well, the most wanted one right now is that McFarlane one that's autographed for the King Spawn, probably. Yeah. And, he's talking about 1 incentives. They go up to 1 in 1,000.
Right.
And you get a 1 in 1,000 blank cover, which is just stupid. You guys, I've talked about it before. I've shown 1 in 500 blank green cover.
Right.
What the hell? It's like, construction paper from the Dollar Tree. I can make that.
Every time one of those comes up, I always crack up because as soon as I see it pop up on the screen when you're doing your preview video, I know you're going to make a comment on it.
There was one that had a line down the middle. I go, this is the 1 in 500 ass crack variant because it looked like a butt, venom or something like that. It doesn't make any sense,
And even though he says inside of here incentives, they're all ratio variants, right? Yeah. All of them. The 1 in 25 is the ratio variant. Even the A's and B's are ratio variants. And but the other type of variant is store exclusives. And so when you talk about variants, I would say that store exclusives are the ones that I think are the best.
Yeah. Honestly, there's really no rhyme or reason to what gets hot.
Right.
And some do and some don't. I just sold the Stray Dogs variant last night. And that's really hot for some reason, you know, and some catch fire and some don't, Yeah. It just is what it is. Anyway.
For sure. Okay, next one comes from Ronald Henao. He says, this is for both of you. Who is your favorite all-time comedian?
There you go.
Whew. That's a great question.
Yeah.
That is a really great question. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that the funniest storyteller that I have ever heard was Richard Pryor.
Richard Pryor?
He was. And if you look at all of, when Eddie Murphy was big, he was basically just mimicking what Richard Pryor was doing. His impersonation, all the stuff he was doing. But here's the thing. Richard Pryor, language aside, was one of the best storytellers ever.
Yeah.
I could say the same thing about Bill Cosby, but Bill Cosby never made me laugh as hard as Richard Pryor did. And so my favorite comedian of all time will always be Richard Pryor.
There you go. He's a comedian. Bill Murray.
Bill Murray.
Bill Murray just in his everyday antics and just how he is, just like the subtleness, like he just kind of shows up and just kind of stares behind somebody or whatnot, photobomb somebody.
I enjoy that type of comedy, and his comedy ever since I saw him in his stand-ups earlier in his career and stuff like that. Then all of the movies that he's done, it's the same character. It's the same type of character. What about Bob? There you go.
Absolutely.
Just baby steps. I mean, it's just everything, man. It's just Bill Murray by far. If I had to pick one, it's definitely going to be Bill Murray.
Yeah,
so and
that's a hard question because I love watching good comedy.
Yeah,
and over the years, I've had different favorites throughout my whole life. But
yeah.
It's the storytellers that are the ones that stay with me the most.
Yeah, and it was kind of hard for me too because I'm like, well, what does it mean stand-up, comedy?
Right.
But it's kind of the same thing because mainly stand-up people go in the movies or whatnot. It's kind of
sure
they go together and stuff like that. So, but yeah, Bill Murray, he's my guy.
If you wanted to go with actors that are comedians, to me it would have been Gene Willy Wonka. I can't think of his name.
Wilder?
Gene Wilder. There you go. It'd be Gene Wilder.
There you go.
Love that guy.
All right.
So the next one comes from Jeff Sharer. He says, who do you guys feel is the most overrated or underrated artist, writer, and miniseries?
There you go.
All right. So I'll just say it. Most overrated is Peach Momoko.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think she's completely overrated.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm passing on this one.
Why is that?
I've said too much in the past.
Okay.
Overrated. It probably wouldn't be a writer. It'd definitely be an artist for my thing. I might agree with you on the Peach Momoko thing. Although some of her work I've started to like a little bit better.
Yeah.
But I didn't understand the hype in the very beginning.
Yeah.
When she was doing her stuff, and I was like, is there something I'm missing? And I asked that quite a bit. And I think I told you one time.
Yeah, we went over this many times.
Yeah, I said, it seems like her work would be better on a painting as opposed to the limitations on a small comic book cover.
Mm-hmm.
To where I think I would enjoy it more if it was like a painting in my house, because it looks like that type of style.
Sure.
And I would appreciate it more than, a little comic book that's 7 inches by 11, whatever it is or whatnot. So,
yeah.
As far as underrated people go, I think that the guy who did I can't remember the guy's name. He did the Join the Future one. Is that Kaplan? Is that who it is?
I don't remember, bro.
I can't remember the guy's name, but he's done some other stuff as well that was really good also. And then Join the Future was a great title also. Mm-hmm. And I think he's underrated, and I think he was underappreciated. I think there's a lot of writers out there that are very underrated, to be totally honest. So, I could fill that up quite easily, but I wish I remembered his name. Anyway, do you want to go underrated?
I can't think of anybody underrated. I mean, there's a lot of artists that I'm still running into that I've never like looked at, seriously before, and so I'm still finding nuggets all over the place. Yeah. But as far as underrated goes, I think one that I had some criticism in the beginning just on a couple of pieces, but the guy that does both the writing and the artwork on Beta Ray Bill.
Oh yeah.
I can't think of his name. It's like three of Johnson. Anyway, I think he's underrated. I think he's fantastic.
Unless he's drawing Wonder Woman.
Well, yeah, and she looks like Rosie O'Donnell at times, but
you know what I think is underrated, and I'm biased a little bit on this. Claire Meath.
She's amazing.
And if you look at her artist, let me tell you this: put her on Stray Dogs. Oh my God,
that would be amazing.
That would be a match made in heaven.
Yeah,
if she was doing Stray Dogs.
I tell you what, if you haven't, subscribed to her Instagram, and she constantly posts videos of her doing inking. Her inking, I could sit there and watch that for hours.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Awesome stuff.
Yep.
Really, really well.
There you go. Mm-hmm. And I think I backed her Kickstarter, which was like the first one I ever did. So I'm looking forward to getting that book.
Awesome. Okay, so next one comes from Anton Massapust. He says, this question's probably already been asked, Evolved. Did you watch the new Spider-Man preview? I'm excited. Bet you guys are too. Ask Bob if he saw that fellow in the white shirt. Could that be Matt Murdock? Okay.
All right, go ahead. I know you're wanting to see.
Yeah, yes. I mean, there's a reason why they're not showing his face, obviously. And, I mean, Still, I'm not 100% sure that it's going to be Charlie Cox. That's what my hope is.
Yeah.
But, I mean, everything's pointing towards them having Matt Murdock inside of the movie. And if that happens, this guy's going to blow up inside the theater, period.
You know who that is?
Who's that?
Mephisto.
Everybody
thinks it's Mephisto.
That's ridiculous.
What is the hard-on that people have with Mephisto? I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that. With Mephisto. It's like everybody is Mephisto.
They're fixated on it.
I know.
I don't get it.
They just want it so badly.
Yeah.
I don't know. They're like, maybe they have those books. Come on, Mephisto. Come on, Mephisto. It's a little disturbing when you think about it.
Yeah. I mean, people are betting on him showing up, but it's just like they're looking at around every corner to find him.
Is that him? Is that him?
They see a picture of somebody demonizing Peter Parker, and they're like, "See?
Yeah. He's got horns on the picture. That's him." I mean, nobody knows, so whatever.
It's so funny.
Maybe he's not even in the realm of what they're even thinking about.
I think there's more of a chance that guy in the white shirt is Matt Murdock and Charlie Cox than there is that Peter Parker or Doctor Strange is Mephisto in the movie. I'll just tell that.
Did you like the trailer?
I did.
Yeah. I thought it was pretty good. I mean, they had to put it out because it leaked.
Sure.
And just seeing the Doc Ock at the end, because he's my favorite one.
Yeah.
He's my favorite Spider-Man villain. That was icing on the cake right there.
Seeing the pumpkin bomb, I love that too.
Yeah.
Which was really cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I
but I heard it's probably getting pushed back.
What?
Yeah, because they're pushing back Venom till next year.
So
I heard they're all getting pushed back till next year.
Oh, because that's ridiculous.
Yeah. Sorry.
Anyway,
I might be wrong.
Thanks for the downer, buddy.
Okay, next up, Wolf Warner is next.
Wolf Warner, Marvel and VV team up to create NFTs of certain classic back issues, including Marvel Comics #1. What's your take on the collaboration between comics and NFTs?
Okay, so here you go. NFTs, I don't know what that is. I know what it is, but I'm showing my age. It's technology that I don't understand. I don't care. So whatever they want to do with NFTs, I don't get it. So I have no interest in it. And that's just me being a stubborn old folk.
Right.
Right. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I mean, I've seen what they are. It doesn't make sense to me that they would sell for, I mean, the Charlie Bit Me thing sold for like hundreds of $1,000s. I'm like, what?
Right.
Whatever. I don't know.
Look, I'm going to explain this the way it should be explained.
Sure.
If you came over to my house
and
you're like, oh, you got some cool comics? I'd be like, yeah, dude, check this out. I got issue of Echolands #1. Check it out. Right? Now, if you come over to my house and I have Echolands #1 and I have the NFT of it, hold on a second, I got to go boot my computer up for a second, right? And so you don't actually have, no, it's out there in the cloud somewhere.
Yeah. It's like the Bitcoin thing.
And it's like,
nobody really knows what it is. We just
want
it.
And it's just a piece of digital whatever, right? It's not physical.
Yeah.
So how in the hell is that worth anything?
I don't know.
So I don't get it. We're not buying into it.
We're old.
I guess so.
It's just we're old. There you go. That's the answer. We're older.
There we go.
So
all right.
I knew this day would come. That darn technology, those kids, get off my yard.
Finally something, right?
Yeah.
All right. This one. I'm not saying that, dude.
Okay.
This one comes from JHC.
There you go.
This is David Bueller. Did your mullet look a la Billy Ray Cyrus or just plain old Sweet Home Alabama?
There's a combination of both. And yes, I did have a mullet that came up the other day in one of the videos. I was rocking the mullet.
Yeah.
And I combed that thing every hour, man. It was beautiful. And it was straight. There was no curl in it. It was just straight nastiness. You know, I was a little kid and I showered like once a week or whatnot, so it was all greasy and everything. But yeah, I mean, I rocked the mullet. Did you ever have a mullet?
I had long hair, and just before I cut my long, it was down to here.
Yeah.
Just before I cut it, I was getting into the metal scene, so I cropped it up on top a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you know what, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
And then I went into the punk scene and became a skinhead, if you want to know the truth.
Yeah, don't do that.
Traditional skinhead, not one of them Nazi dudes. But yeah.
I'll take your word for it. All right, you got the last one on this page.
Yeah, okay, so this one comes from Clayton J. Question for Bob. What 3 Daredevil series should absolutely be read by everyone? Bueller, I'll save questions for you for in person on your travels. Love this show.
Nice.
Okay, so definitely You Can't Beat the Frank Miller run. I'd say that is a definite read. There are a lot of prolific runs on Daredevil, so no matter what I say, people are going to be like, why didn't you choose this, or why didn't you choose that? Okay. Yeah. And so I'm just going to give you 3 of my personal favorite. The Frank Miller run, for sure. I loved the Ed Brubaker run. I think it kind of beats out the Bendis run, to tell you the truth.
Really?
Yeah, just because of some of the things he did with Mr. Fear, and then, of course, with Bullseye as well. And then one that is a very, very short run, just 8 issues. That run between Kevin Smith and Joe Quesada blew me away when it came out. I still love that artwork like you wouldn't believe. So I would say check out the Kevin Smith run.
Yeah.
But I could go on beyond that. I mean, there's so many different runs on Daredevil that is prolific. But those would be my 3 personal favorites.
Nice. Very cool. Okay, guess what, man?
It's your turn.
It's my turn to read some questions here. The first one is from Two Tacos. Men Without Chalupas. What? What is or are your most expensive books in your collection? And do you gents apply taco sauce to your chalupa? And if so, what level of heat is to your liking? Okay, most expensive book in my collection is my Hulk 181.
Yep.
What's the most expensive in yours?
I'm not positive.
Okay.
Because there's a bunch of books that I have that I've never had graded or anything like that.
Sure.
But I would think that the one that's the most valuable to me is my Avengers 58, which is slab signed by Roy Thomas.
Oh, nice.
I mean, I think that goes for about $600-700 right now.
Yeah.
I know I have comics that are probably worth more.
Now, you have books over $1,000.
Yeah, I do.
You just sold a book for over $1,000.
I did. Yeah, I did. I mean, Something is Killing the Children.
Yeah, I know.
And I do have a few others like that, but I don't look at it in terms like that. The most expensive book I have. I look at what are the books that are most valuable to me.
Sure.
So
the other question is, what level of hot sauce do we put on our chalupas or tacos? The hotter the better. I'll just say that. I don't just light that baby up. I don't care.
There you go. And I'll just say that I don't put any type of sauce on my chalupa. I can't stand Taco Bell sauce.
Yeah, well, that's too bad.
Yeah.
The next one is from Radio Friar Fall, I believe. Says, question, what do you know about the closing of the current series of Daredevil? Is it true? This one's for you.
Sure. Okay, so I had heard that Chip Zdarsky was ending the run at issue 36. And that was the information that I had up until Thursday night.
Yeah.
Robbie from Pop Culture Philosopher said that he had some more news, was that Chip Zdarsky is not completely leaving the Daredevil series. It's stopping at issue 36. They're going to go into an event with Daredevil, and then once the event is over with, then Zdarsky would continue the run. I really hope that that's the truth.
Yeah.
I didn't go look to see it to corroborate it, but I think that that's the direction that they're heading. So there you have it.
Okay. There you go, information. Next one is from Jonathan Baker. He said, what creators do you feel has had the biggest 2021 so far, writer, artist, cover artist? And what is your guys' dream book you want to do an exclusive variant for? Thanks, B&B. We're B&B.
B&B.
So who's had the best year so far? I would say the Tinian.
Tinian, yeah.
Tinian is by far probably number one, followed by probably Rom V. And then Donnie Cates. Because the thing about Cates would be up there, but he's taking some time off this year. Like the Venom King in Black was delayed a couple months. Crossover has been delayed a few months or taken a few months off. So as far as like the constant content from him, it hasn't been as much as what you've gotten from Tinian and Rom V for that matter. So I would say 1, 2, 3, Tinian, Rom V, Donnie Cates.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. As far as cover artists, and we're fans of Shannon Mears, as you can tell.
Yeah.
Anything that Shannon does, we're all going to be fans of. So the more the better that we can get from him. As far as the dream book we would want to do an exclusive for, what about you? What would you want?
Well, I mean, the one that I most want to do would be Kanto.
What about Daredevil?
I'd love to do Daredevil, but that's not even in my league.
No. This is a dream book, man.
Okay, so yeah, of course, it'd be Daredevil.
Yeah.
I was trying to do Kanto.
Yeah.
Right, and IDW finally just came out with their whole guidelines.
Yeah.
And everything that would have worked for me when they were doing it before has been completely wiped off the board. So it's not even going to be a possibility for me. But yeah, if I could have my first Marvel exclusive, it'd be Daredevil hands down.
There you go. Mine would be Kanto, just to make him happy.
Woo!
If I could do a Punisher one,
yeah,
that's my favorite character. I'd love to do a Punisher one, and I think that would be pretty cool. So, all right, let's see. Next one here is from Jeff Stanley. He said, question for Monday. How did Bob and Bueller meet and become friends? Well, I'll tell the story.
Okay,
here we go. So, as I'm doing right now, I'm in front of the camera talking to people that are watching the video. A couple years ago, this gentleman beside me decided to watch one of the videos, and he was enamored from the very beginning. From the very beginning,
his heart began to beat. And he felt a little lighter in his seat and stuff like that. And he's like, man, I hope one day to meet Bueller. I really hope I do. That would be a dream come true. And then like a few weeks later, he's like, what's this Mocha Express that he talked about?
I said, what's that smell first? And then
No, just be quiet. Quiet. This is all true. He said something about Mocha Express. He goes, God, I swear I've heard of that before. And then he realizes, I think he's talking about that coffee shop that's down the street from my house. Oh my God. And this is actually what he said. I think he lives by me. And he lost it. And he passed out for about, his wife told me this. He passed out for about 5 minutes. And she had to, use some smelling salt to get him back up. So he gets back up and he's like, is this true? Is this true? And he had his wife watch the video to verify it. And she's like, yeah, it's true. He's like, oh man, I hope I can, I really hope this, I can't believe it. So he gets my email address, and how he did that, I don't know. He probably paid some service to get it. And I get this email, and it literally said, I'm your biggest fan, please, this is my make-a-wish. He goes, could I please meet you for coffee someday? And I'm like, sure, weirdo. And so I'm like, what would you like? And he's like, oh, I live right from Mocha Express. And I said, sure, we'll meet there in a couple days. So I go there, and I'm sitting there, and I'm at Mocha Express. And I don't know what he looks like, because his picture on his profile was a little weird looking. I was like, oh, it's going to be one of those. And then I see this guy pull up, and it says, his license plate says, I love Bueller. And I was like, that's got to be the guy. That's got to be the guy.
Oh my God.
And so he came in there, and he literally started singing out loud, this is a dream come true. And he was serenading the whole coffee shop. I'm like, oh my God. And he sat down, and he reached out, and he put his hands out, and he says, can I just touch you? And I'm like, yeah. So I put my hand, he touched me and stuff, and he's like, thank you. I could die now and be happy.
Oh,
and that's exactly how we met.
You spin a fancy tale there, my friend.
That's all true. That's all true. Next question.
Oh,
Next question. So this is from Roger. Says, this question is for both of you. If you had to be trapped in one comic book for eternity, what would it be and why?
Interesting. Trapped in a comic book for eternity.
Yep. I already know what mine is.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What's yours?
Money Shot. Think about it. Think about what that's about. Might as well be happy.
Oh my gosh.
Might as well be happy.
I can't top that. There it is.
You want to be in there with me?
I can't. Well, I'm not saying that, but I can't top that.
You're not in that one.
Oh my gosh.
Anything?
Yeah, Battle Pug. There you go.
Battle Pug?
There you go.
Is you a pug? You want to ride a pug?
Ride my pug, gigantic pug.
Well, we're both going to be
the
riding.
whole world is based on, it's like a fantasy world, but when they kill somebody, they're using like candy canes that are pointed and things like that. It's like, it's colorful but deadly at the same time. It's fun.
We're both going to be riding something in our books.
There we go. You guys didn't see the eyebrow raise he just out there when he looked at me.
Hey-o.
Hi-oh.
Okay. This one's from Kevin O'Shea, Pacific Northwest, PNW. Says, can we see a picture of you with your mullet, please? Welcome back, Bob. Yeah, I'll put one on screen. I don't care. I've showed it before. It's actually my prom picture with me and my prom date, and that was a good night.
There you go.
It was like the Money Shot in real life.
I'll send you one of my skinhead pictures too. You can throw that up there.
I don't want to see that. I don't want to say it. That's my friend.
Right.
But yeah, I don't mind sharing that. It's a pretty cool picture. Like I said, I was pretty proud of my mullet. It got the job done.
Yeah, I was pretty proud of my mullet.
There you go. All right, next one here is from Slim Thumbtack. He says, I have a question for Bullseye Bob. I recently finished reading the first omnibus of the original Daredevil run. Daredevil is not a character that I have traditionally read. Probably my favorite part of the run was all of the wacky villains I had never heard of. Leapfrog, a Plunder, the Owl, to name just a very, very small handful. As a Daredevil fan, I would like to know which old school D&D villain is Bob's favorite.
Yeah, that one's an easy question for me. One of the things that got me into Daredevil was when I first there was one of the first comic shops that I went into had some Daredevil on the wall, and the first thing that I saw were the John Romita covers with the Gladiator.
Oh yeah, you
on
told me
them.
about that.
Yeah, and I just was blown away, and that became one of my favorite villains at the time. Before we had Wolverine, to me,
Yeah.
you had Gladiator, and the battles that they had inside of the books when I finally got them, to me, were epic.
Yeah.
And so I missed the days when Melvin Potter was a villain and they had their fights going back. I mean, I do like the dynamic, that's there now because I'm endeared to Melvin Potter, but I love those days when he was one of the big villains for Daredevil, and I wish they'd bring that back. But from old school, that was the one.
Very cool. All right, this next one here is from Jeffrey Phil. He says, hello from Canada. Hello from United States. Just want to start off by saying thanks for all that you do for the comic community. I'm a new collector, just started last year, and your show are a valuable tool. Awesome. Bob, I hope you are feeling better. He is. Here are some rapid fire questions, 9 for each of you. Feel free to use one, some, none, or all. Here we go. Okay. Rapid fire. Bob, you're up first. Here we go. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Cover or story?
Story.
Story. There you go. Grade it or keep it raw?
50-50.
Nope. That's not acceptable.
It's not acceptable.
Yep.
My whole collection is not graded, so but I do like grading books.
Yep.
I'm not going to pick one or the other.
Indie or Big 2?
Right now, indie.
Okay. Ratio, variant, or store exclusive?
Store exclusive.
CGC or CBCS?
CGC.
Give me a break. Blank cover or cosplay cover?
That's a sucky question because I don't get into really either one. I'm gonna say the blank cover because I do get people.
Dude, you're a cosplay maniac, dude. Come on.
That's true. But
would you rather have a cover that's blank or?
When was the last time you saw a Kingpin cosplay cover?
Well,
all the cosplay covers are with what company?
Lady.
Right. Understand?
No.
Okay. So there you have it.
Dynamite.
But I do have commissions done on blank covers. So I'm gonna say blank cover.
Okay. Mirror or Matina?
Mare.
Yeah. Kanto or Daredevil? Come on, you gotta answer it.
Yeah, it's Daredevil.
Yeah,
I have to.
Sasquatch or Colossal?
Well, since I don't know who Colossal Claude is, I'm gonna say Sasquatch.
Okay, there you go. All right, you want to read the ones
yeah,
for me?
Okay,
Here?
So this ones are for Bueller. All right, digital or paper?
Paper.
Vampirella or Red Sonja?
Red Sonja.
Nice. All right. Trade dress or virgin?
What does that look for? Trade dress. I don't care for the virgin covers.
Oh, okay, cool. eBay or YouTube auctions?
YouTube.
I think you probably made more off YouTube than you
Yeah,
have
go
eBay,
to my
right?
YouTube auctions.
There you go. Okay, so creator and artist signature or fan signature?
Fan signature.
Easily. That's
yeah,
an
I
easy
love
one for
getting
you.
signatures from fans of the show. I think that's what he's referring to.
Yeah.
So.
Actually,
People ask me, "Oh, what do you have Donny Kate signed for you?" Nothing.
Nothing.
I didn't even ask him. I wasn't even gonna. I was like, I don't care.
Yeah.
So,
key collector or CBSI?
That's. I don't really care for either one of them, to be totally honest. But if I had to use one, key collector is probably the one I've used the most.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I don't think I've used CBSI for anything, to be totally honest with you.
Yeah.
So, no offense to them. I just,
For sure. I think I know the answer to this one. Iron Man or X-Men?
X-Men.
Absolutely. Cates or Liefeld?
I owe it to Cates because I'm his favorite YouTuber. And because I've interacted with both. And last time I talked to Cates, he was very friendly and happy, and he said I'm his favorite. And last time I talked to Liefeld, did not go well.
Just ask you a question real quick. Are you still blocked by Liefeld?
I don't know. That's a good example as well. He's blocked me. Right. Cates hasn't blocked me.
Exactly.
So there you go.
All right, UFOs or ghosts?
Both, I guess. I believe in both. UFOs for sure. Ghosts, I would, I don't know. But to think that we're the only living beings in this whole giant universe, galaxy, whatever you want to call it, I think it's a little narrow-minded, to be honest. Because not to say that there's like green aliens out there, but there's probably like a little bug somewhere on a different planet or whatnot, just kind of creeping around. That's life, right?
A little bug.
Yeah, I don't know. So there you go. That's it, right?
Yeah, he says, thanks again, guys. Keep rocking.
Awesome. All right, let's go on to the next page here. I got the first half of the questions.
All right.
This is from Greg. I got cut off there. Greg Vaunt or whatnot. Sorry.
Greg, wait.
Wait, there you go. Sorry, I got cut off on my page. It says, question. What is your favorite cover from the 1970s that is not a key issue? This is for both of you. I don't know.
That's a hard one because most of the stuff from the 70s, I think of key issues, you know. But Doctor Strange #3, I think that's my only like favorite Doctor Strange cover that I know that's not a key. He's got, holding off Dormammu. Daredevil 194. There you go. The way he's holding the gun out.
Yeah.
That I used to love that. Yeah. So there you go. There's a couple.
From this, I don't know if it's from the 70s, but this is the first one that popped in my mind. It's the one with Amazing Spider-Man. I think it's 201. There's like a bullseye on the cover, and it has Spider-Man and Punisher right next to each other. I don't think it's a key or nothing like that. I still have it in my collection, and for some reason I've kept it all these years.
That's a great cover.
But I've always remembered that it might not be from the 70s, probably from the early 80s, maybe the 70s. I don't know, but that's the one that automatically popped in my mind.
Yeah, awesome.
Next one is from Half Moon Picks. Where do you both see yourself in life in 10 years from now?
For me, I see myself retired and doing everything.
In a home?
What's that?
In a home?
Not in a home. My home. But I'm finally going to be able to do what I just want to do, which is to basically stay home, play video games, read comic books, color, play Warhammer, and just do all the stuff that I want to do.
Yeah.
And everything else I don't care about.
Yeah. So for me, for 10 years, you want to go ahead and say it? You've said this before, where you imagine me sitting in my van
down by the river.
Yeah. There you go.
Fishing.
Sitting in my van down by the river, man.
Holding this Hulk 181.
Yeah. Reading Donny Cates's newest book. I don't know, Dark Hawk or whatever he's on by then. I don't know. But pretty much relaxing, enjoying life. That's kind of what I see.
And just that's all I want to do is play.
And visiting Bob in his home.
Yeah, come on over and we'll play. We'll play some video games.
Yeah, I'll just get his nurse to go out of the room. Next slide is Walter Cahill, I believe. It says, what is the difference between halfbacks and fullback boards? I think they are from E. Gerber. Are the fullback boards just thicker, and do you really need to use the thicker boards? Just wondering. I have been buying the BCW comic book boards to go with my polys and mylar bags. So halfback, is that just thickness?
It's thickness.
Yeah. So the fullbacks are thicker, and the halfbacks are like half that.
Right.
I think it's not, here's the thing. I mean, I've had supply companies be sponsors of the show. I've had a couple different sponsors of the show, supply companies, and they work really well. But I will be honest, and don't get me wrong, make sure you bag and board your comics. But they're not as fragile as what people think. When you look at a book, I was at a Comic-Con at the MegaCon, and they had a Captain America 100, okay, whatever that was. It was a 9.9, graded 9.9, okay? That book has been out, 50 years. So for 30 years or whatever it was, that was still a 9.9. Comic books actually hold up pretty well.
They
surprisingly, as long as you're not like sitting there like throwing them around or whatnot. If you just set them in the box and forget about them for 20, 30 years, they're exactly the same. But as far as bags and boards, just whatever you want. They're all pretty much the same. There's different thickness. There's different bag types, but they're all kind of there to do the same thing, to protect your book.
Right.
So whatever you want to use it. And if you don't want to use it, don't use it. So.
I'll give you an example really quick of use of stuff like that. Like if you take this barbaric book, you'll see that it presents very well. And usually when people see how tight it is, they like, my comics don't look like that. And so this is one of the ones from Comics Pro Line, which is almost like a Mylar. And it's got the 56-point board.
Yeah, those are great.
Which pushes it up against the front of the Mylar and makes it present really well. When you don't have that thickness, the comic can move on the inside and maybe not present as well because it's a little looser. Yeah. And so people sometimes will put two backing boards inside of there to get that effect. And so, that's one of the reasons why people would want thicker boards.
And those are the ones by Comic Pro Line?
Yep.
Correct? And they make good product. And honestly, if the 56-point boards, I'd love to put all my books in that. It's not feasible, as far as like money-wise, because they're kind of expensive.
And your boxes get a lot heavier.
Yeah, they get a lot heavier, and a lot more room is taken up from the boards. But if you could do them all, I'd do every book, but it's just not in the cards. And I don't do business with them anymore anyway, so their loss.
There you go.
Give me a break. But we love Tony.
We do, yeah.
Tony's
Tony's a good guy.
Comic Pro Line, Okay. Next one is from Play Before Work. He says, always a good preview show. Thank you. He says, how goes the van RV hunting going? Any updates? Yeah, I'll just give you a quick update. We just started doing the auctions this week. The first day went extremely well. I mean, my goal is to get to $10,000. We hit $3,500 in 4 hours. And we only went through 3 boxes of books, and we have 25 more boxes to go. So I'm definitely going to hit the 10,000 and probably more, which will give me even better opportunity to get something more reliable and just built. So really, I think I'll probably be that goal by end of next weekend.
That's awesome.
And so this month, I'm purchasing the van or RV, whatever I pick. There's some I've saved on what I want, whether they're still available when I have the funds. I've had people, friends and family, offer to let me borrow money, and I said no, I don't want it. I said I know what I have. I know what I have to do. I can raise my own money. I go, I don't mind waiting a few weeks and taking care of it and just buying it right out myself and feeling good about it. So that's what I'm doing. So stay tuned, because you'll know very quickly within the next 2 weeks, what I purchased and what's sitting in outside my driveway for the next few months as I work on it. So
It's exciting stuff, man.
very much so. Next one is Rooksmate 1911. It says, I'm moving from Utah to Oregon. How do you guys feel about the state? Any advice? I think it depends on what part of Oregon you're moving to.
That's true.
Because Oregon is there's so much variety here. I mean, there's parts of Oregon, there's a big chunk of Oregon that doesn't even want to be part of Oregon. They want to be part of
Northern California.
or Idaho.
Idaho,
Yeah,
yeah.
so anyway, it is what it is. But we're in the Portland metro area. There's a lot of stuff to do. There's the issues that we have here or whatnot. But you know what? From our buddy Eric, who just moved here from San Francisco, he told me yesterday, he goes, he loves it. He loves it here. He's like, it's beautiful. The weather's great. It's not too hot. It's not too cold. There's so much to do. Here's the thing. If you like, in Utah, Utah has tons of stuff to do. But if you like the outdoors, Oregon has everything you want.
Everything you want.
Has the beach, has the mountains, deserts, you name it. And it's all within like an hour. I'm like downtown Portland.
Yeah.
You could be at the beach or you could be at the mountain within an hour.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. I like it. Any advice? Yeah, stay in your car when you go get gas. No need to get out of the car.
There you go.
And if you buy something at the grocery store or buy something that says $4, you don't need $4.25. It's $4.
$4.
So there you go.
No
That's
sales
my
tax.
advice. Yeah.
There you go.
Anything from you?
Just for me, I lived in California most of my life. I moved out here, 12 years ago now, and I fell in love with the place. I was a mile away from Venice Beach, most of my life, and I came out here and just absolutely fell in love with it. I've gone back to California, and it feels like brown and gray.
Yeah,
it's just dull.
Yeah.
Portland City, there's the things to do. Right now there's a lot of crap going on, and so it's that part's difficult. But other than that, man, I love it here.
Yeah, yeah. Oregon sometimes gets a bad rap. If you're living in Oregon, explore Oregon and really look and see what it has to offer. Don't just go by the 2 blocks that they talk about in downtown Portland.
Right?
Because there's a lot more to look at
for sure,
and it's very close by.
Yeah.
So,
and if you love comic books, you couldn't be in a better place.
There you go. Perfect. All right. I got the next one. It's Strider Comics. This question for both. Would you open a comic book shop in today's comic world? The closest actual comic book shop is an hour away from where I live, and they have tons of customers that drive for an hour to get books. There is a game shop I go to, but they focus on MTG and tabletop. Must be gaming things. With that said, would you open a shop in that area? Well, this is a question that Bob has asked me.
Yeah.
If I'd open a comic shop, and the simple answer is no. I wouldn't open it. And I'm a little jaded on this, and the reason why, there'd be no reason for me to open a comic shop. You guys are right there. That's my audience. That's if you want to say customer, you could put that. I don't like using that term. But really, if I had something to sell, that's my audience right there, and it's worldwide. It's not just confined to my neighborhood.
Sure.
So if I decided to sell books or whatnot, and actually make a go of it, like an online store, I already have a built-in people that are probably going to take a look and be interested in the books. Putting up a brick and mortar store and having to pay the rent and employees and all that stuff, and worry about making money with a limited, range, I'd say no. So Anyway.
Yeah, I've toyed with it a bunch of times, but only because I constantly look for, what could I do to make a living off of comic books rather than doing what I'm doing now. And I think about it so much that sometimes I'm like, well, I'll open up a comic shop. And then every time I think about it or I ask questions, it always turns out to be the same thing. In this climate, it's a horrible idea.
Yeah.
And so I've resigned. It's not something that I'm going to lend myself to.
Now, I think if online comic shop, sure. I think that's very doable. If you had the time to put into it and make it online with your audience, even, with a few thousand people, you can make a go of it.
I did some sales on both Instagram and eBay.
Yeah.
And so I'm really thinking about doing something online and doing it more consistently.
Yeah.
And so we'll see what happens with that. But that is more doable than it is having to pay rent for a brick and mortar. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people don't realize how much their LCSs have to work at keeping their shops up. It is a lot of work.
And we're in a unique position to have this wonderful audience.
Absolutely.
That watches us on a regular basis. So, I mean, very lucky to have that.
Thank you, guys.
All right, Bob, you got the last few questions here.
All right. So
from Tylox, I believe, is the one.
Yeah, just like he was on the auction last night.
Oh, yeah.
So he says, what's yours and Bob's favorite cover and... Oh, sorry. All right, so yeah, Tylox, he says, what's yours and Bob's favorite cover ever and favorite artist?
Well, for me, that's easy. It's Contest of Champions #1. When it's got all the superheroes on it. If I had it with me right now, I'd show it to you, but my books are kind of tied up and right now as far as what we're doing. But I'll probably put an image up here on screen so you can look at it. Favorite artist is McFarlane. He's always been my favorite artist ever since I met him and before that. So
absolutely.
There you go.
And I'm on the other side of that equation. Jim Lee has always been my favorite artist. But I lend myself to tons of artists. I mean, I was a huge Gene Colan fan. I mean, John Romita is another one of my favorites. So, but if I had to do a one of all time, it'd be Jim Lee. Yeah. And favorite cover of all time, that's a hard one for me. I'm going to say I always come back to the Heroes Reborn Fantastic Four #5.
Yeah.
I think that cover that Jim Lee did of Doctor Doom is one of my favorite of all time.
Those are all great looking covers.
Yeah, and I got one personalized to me from him, and so that's in my collection. But that one always sticks with me.
Nice.
But I got a ton of covers I love.
All right, this next one's pretty easy.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't answer this correctly, you got to leave.
Okay. All right, Eric Borden says, best coffee you ever had. And
Mocha
I probably
Express.
ended up having to leave because...
Mocha Express. And Comics on Coffee.
There you go.
The Mocha Express, because I had them, that's probably the first coffee experience really I had was them. Anyway, Bob.
Yeah, so...
tread lightly.
I'm going to tell the truth.
Damn it. First time for everything.
Here in town, we have a company called Stumptown.
Oh, yeah.
All right, and their cold brew that's bottled that they sell is okay. But I went into their actual shop, and they have a lot of different brews of varying degrees on tap. And I walked in there one day and just had my socks blown off. It's probably one of the best coffees I've ever had.
All right. Lies. All right, you got the next one there.
All right.
Mocha Express.
There you go.
Comics on Coffee.
Next one comes from Robbie Kilpatrick. 2-part question. The first is, what did you think of the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer? And 2, what comic book do you think will turn into a movie because of its popularity? Thank you, Bueller and Bob, and safe travels, Bueller.
Okay, so we already hit on the Spider-Man trailer. I think we both enjoyed it.
Yeah, that was good.
As far as what the next comic book will be turned into a movie, actually, I'm pretty excited. They just announced it. It's Oblivion Song. Because I've been a fan of that series. I actually just sold the whole set last night, and but I think that's going to be pretty cool because that's if you ever looked at that book, it's very colorful, very vibrant, and the creatures in the world. It's going to cost a lot of money to recreate that. Honestly. And I've talked about this book many times over. It's been my favorite book of the year, and I'd love to see it as a movie, A Shadow Doctor.
Man, that would be amazing.
It's made for a movie. I thought I was, when you describe what it is, it's like, oh, is that a movie? That's the first thing my mom said when I described that to her. She goes, oh, that sounds like a movie. Mm-hmm. Go, yeah, it needs to be a movie. So Shadow Doctor, I would love to see.
For sure. There are 2 that come to mind that I think are prime ripe to be made into movies, and I think it's only a matter of time. First one is Stray Dogs. I really think that they're going to take.
I don't know if those all dogs go to heaven. Same thing?
I think there's an audience to have that kind of Don Bluth type of animation done with a very creepy story like that.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Not. It sounds good, but in reality, people don't like really do that. I mean, think of the darker like animated stuff that came out. They really didn't garner the mass audience that the other stuff does. I could be wrong, but I'm trying to think at the top of my head the ones that were kind of went that darker route.
Right.
They didn't appeal to the mainstream audience or what. I don't know. I really don't know what I'm talking about.
The other one that I think, and this is probably cheating, but Nice House on the Lake I think is prime for a series.
There you go.
There you go.
I still haven't read any of this. All right, a couple more to go.
Right. Yeah, so next one comes from Matt Grosky. He says, if you could keep only one comic book from your personal collection, which would you keep and why?
It's the one that hits all the bases. It's for me, it's Amazing Spider-Man 129. My favorite character. It's autographed by the creator, Jerry Conway, and it was a gift from my nephew. So it's got like all 3 boxes ticked.
Yeah.
And so that's the one I would keep. I have other books that are just special or whatnot, but they only have like a couple of those things. This one has like all 3, so that's the one I'd keep.
And I've said this many times on this show. The book that means the most to me and has the most value to me in my collection is my Avengers 58.
Yeah.
That's the book that got me into comics. That's the book that showed me that somebody out there understood what was going on inside of here at a very prominent time in my life.
Yeah.
And the memory of meeting Roy Thomas and having him sign it and expressing how much I absolutely loved his writing and what it meant to me is something that I'll never forget and was one of the greatest moments in my life. And so that's
Special books?
Special books.
There you go. All right.
All right. Next one comes from my good buddy,
This is great.
TM Nerdy. Who would win in a fight, Bob or Robbie?
So, I mean, you can go ahead and answer, and then I'll answer too.
So, I mean, I kicked that hippie's ass. I'm just kidding.
No, that's good.
I'm just kidding.
No, it's on tape. It's good.
So, I mean, you put it out there.
I'd kick that hippie's ass.
Robbie's my homie.
Yeah.
But, I mean, even as old as I am, the edge that I have is that, I mean, my whole family were into professional boxing.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I used to get paid to do it. So,
Yeah.
So, there's that.
Okay, you want me to do it?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think you kick that hippie's ass.
Ain't no puff give here, baby. Love you, Robbie.
Yeah, Robbie. Sorry, buddy. He's a big dude. I saw you take that ice bucket challenge. You almost fell over. So. Anyway, we don't want to see that either way. But,
no, we don't.
Thunderdome, baby.
But Travis, great question.
Yeah. All right, last one.
Last one comes from King Kong of the Skies. What are your future plans for the channel?
What are your plans for your channel?
I'd like to ramp up some things. I have a little more time in my schedule, so I'm going to be very selective on how I use it. But I'd like to be a little more strategic and ramp up a little bit more than what I'm doing right now, which is nothing consistent. And I'd like to get something consistent on the book. So that's kind of where I'm looking right now.
Nice. More of the same for the time being, and then incorporating my travels into the channel, and also just some I'll just say it's some blog type things or whatnot about living on the road, and so it'll be kind of a hybrid combination of comic books and just daily blogs. But really, when I do daily blogs or whatnot, it's centered around comic books anyway. It's always going to be comic book themed. I'm looking forward to sharing that. My travels, I've said this before, I'm going to go to different places. I'm going to hit all the comic shops. I want to highlight every comic shop in America and Canada or whatnot. I want to go visit people that watch the show, highlight their collections if they'd like to highlight them, and stuff like that. Kind of like the American pickers of comic books is kind of my idea for this. And just along with the regular stuff. Now, some stuff will be leaving, but the preview videos, the content that's always going to be there. I'm doing my top 10 video again. A lot of people missed that. I haven't done it. I've just been busy over the last few weeks, and there's some stuff going on behind the scenes. But those videos will be there. Some version of the coffee show, it's not until later next year, will be in play or whatnot. We'll figure something out.
But there'll probably be more content, on the show than ever before, to be totally honest, because I'm just going to be sitting in a van.
Down by the river.
Doing nothing. I'll be doing something. So anyway, that's all the questions.
Yeah, man, that's awesome.
I always love doing these.
Me too.
And like I said, we do these like every 4 months. It's kind of the plan. And, I'm surprisingly, every time we get more questions that we haven't heard before.
Which is great.
Which is awesome.
So next one, what, around Christmas?
Yeah, maybe. Well, what? Sure, I don't know. We don't know. I don't think that hard ahead.
Well, there we go.
I just look at the thing. I go, has it been 4 months yet? Yep, 4 months. Let's go ahead and do this.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So, all right. Let's move on to our final 5, brought to you by Bird City Comics. Bob, you can go first.
All right. Sticking with recent pickups, I got all of these at the Washington State SummerCon. So we got Spider-Man number 174. These are all Marvel comics, by the way. We got the Avengers number 128. Great floating heads cover there. We got giant-sized Daredevil number 1 with the Emissaries of Evil. And then we got Captain America and the Falcon number 149 with some great Batroc the Leaper on the cover.
There you go.
And then we got Thor, the Mighty Thor number 180, When Gods Go Mad. So there's my final 5.
Awesome. All right. I got my final 5. My LCS was having their $1 sale. And like I said in the past, I wait, and I don't mind waiting. And sure enough, I got the books I've been talking about. If I waited long enough for under $1, so there you go. I'll just show some of the stuff I got. This is Deceased Dead Planet number 7, which it's the Matina cover, so that's why I bought that. But here you go, the Future State ones. You guys remember I talked about the Future State? Mm-hmm. I'm just gonna wait because eventually they're gonna be $1. So there you go, Future State, the next Batman. That was $1, so I finally picked that up. Future State Superman Worlds of War. This was $1. Both of these have an $8 cover price. I waited a while to get them. There was a bunch of other Future State stuff I picked up as well, but that's showing an example.
Buck a piece.
Buck a piece. There you go. Some more $1 ones I found. The Scumbag number 1, the variant cover, which is awesome. And then I found this one. Like I said, I talked about this a little bit ago. Shadow Doctor number 1. I bought a couple extra copies of this. Gave one to my friend Eric because he hadn't read it yet. I really just bought them to give away to friends or whatnot. So
that's a steal.
There you go. So those are all $1 a piece. I bought about $30. And I thought you guys probably saw my Noctera. They had number 1. You can see it on the wall over there.
Yeah.
I bought like 15 of those things. They're all $1. They're just sitting there. I'm like, I'll buy them all.
Grab them up.
So you never know. For $1, I'll do it. If they were cover price,
Right.
But for $1, load them up. So there you go. That's my final 5, brought to you by Bird City Comics. Go to their website. Enter the code Bueller, you save 10%. You know what? Let's go ahead and move on to our Was It Good segment. We haven't done this in a while, and we didn't do it last week with Damien on here. Mm-hmm. And our Was It Good segment is brought to you by Comics on Coffee. You can go to their website, enter the code Bueller. You save 15% on all the great coffee that they got. They got the new pumpkin spice, whatever it is now. Everybody likes pumpkin, I guess.
Yep.
So there you go. So, all right, I will go. Actually, where's your books? You got them right there?
I do.
All right, so these are the ones you read?
Yep.
All right. What's the name of this one?
Echolands.
Echolands. Okay, so Echolands number 1. All right. Bob.
Yeah.
Was it good?
It was phenomenal.
Oh, my God.
This book was my pick of the week. Mm-hmm. And I said it on the show last Thursday of the the greatest comics of the month that we were on. Every page inside of this book gave me either an emotional reaction or just a reaction period. The artwork was phenomenal. The story flowed. Mm-hmm. There was so much going on in the pages that I think I said it. It reminded me of when I was a kid and somebody handed me the cover from Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club.
Oh, yeah.
And there's all that stuff on the cover.
Yeah.
I turned the page. I had to stop and just take it all in. It was an experience. I loved reading it. I can't wait for issue number 2. This was a phenomenal book.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to pick it up. I looked at it digitally. It had trouble presenting well digital format because of the way this book is laid out. It's, the sideways or whatnot. So I'm gonna have to get one.
I'm just gonna give this one to you, my friend.
That's what I was hoping. I wasn't hoping.
I have 2 more copies. Yeah.
Nice. All right. Let's see. Let's go on to your next book. Man, I need to get a copy of this as well.
Yeah.
This is Barbaric number. Is it Barbaric?
Yep.
Yeah, Barbaric number 3. Bob.
Yes.
Was that good?
It was good. I mean, look, the one when the first one came out, absolutely loved it. Second book, the way they ended this first story arc.
This is the last story.
This is the last of the first story arc. We'll get the second arc in 2022. But the characters that are inside of this, the way they ended the story, it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved it. The Axe is one of my favorite characters. It's sentient and it thirsts for blood. And it's getting blood all over the place inside of the book until it tastes elder blood.
It's
then
a
it's
bloody
just like,
axe.
Yeah. And then he's like, oh, no, I want some of that elder blood, man. It so freaking funny, so cool. But also at the same time, it's edgy as well. I dug it.
Awesome, man. I didn't try. I had the first one, so I need to take a look. Next book up is Something is Killing the Children, number 19. I just sold my whole collection of this. Mm-hmm. Bob.
Yeah.
Was that good?
When is it not good? This continues the story at the House of Slaughter and how Erica becomes who she is. And last issue, we were left with her being put into basically a building with, the creature. And if she comes out, she becomes one of the members of House of Slaughter. If she doesn't, that's the end of Erica Slaughter.
Yeah, but you already know what happens.
We already know what happens, but this kind of shows you what goes on inside of there.
Yeah.
And loved it. Loved every second of it. Worth the Deladura. His artwork is phenomenal. Tynion, this book is just going to continue, to keep getting better. And so, yes, it was good.
There you go. Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, here's your book specs, -1. Thank you for that.
Not a problem.
These are the two. I read 3. I'll tell you what the third one is, but if you want to go ahead and go.
Sure thing. So the first one is Ice Cream Man number 25 by Image Comics. Bueller, got a question for you.
Yeah.
Was it good?
Yeah, it's phenomenal. Yeah. It was really good, start to finish. Even had a bonus story in there as well. It's about a plane going down. I mean, they're going down. It's about all the people on the plane, about the different reactions. Some are over-exaggerated, some are under-exaggerated. There's hints to Twilight Zone in there, which I just love. It's one of my favorite shows, Twilight Zone. And there's even stuff going on the ground, people seeing the plane going down. But just the commentary, it's if you didn't have the title on here, Ice Cream Man, I would know it's an Ice Cream Man book. Just the way it's written and the way they tell the story. W. Maxwell Prince does this. It's phenomenal. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Even the backup story was a little confusing, but I like that as well. Very happy. This is actually one of the very few books that is still on my pull list. And I'm glad it was, because even though it was $1 more, $4.99, I was more than happy to pay for it.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Awesome book.
I also like that nod to the Twilight Zone, because I've often said that this is our modern day Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
Maxwell Prince's writing to me is just on par with what Rod Serling was doing.
Yeah.
It's hard coming up with separate stories for every single episode or issue.
Yeah.
And he's done a phenomenal job with that. So awesome stuff.
Absolutely.
All right. So the next one you have is King Spawn number 1 by Image Comics.
Yep.
Bueller, was it good?
It's fantastic. I'm so excited for the expanded universe of Spawn, to be totally honest. And this is the first ongoing Spawn title in I don't know how many years. And this has the main story and a bunch of short stories as well. And the short stories are by Todd McFarlane. He did a Gunslinger one that was great, and it's kind of an introduction to them. And the main story was good as well. Starts off with a bang. Unfortunately, it's a little devastating, but it's very similar to Spawn number 1, to where and kids have always been involved in the Spawn storyline, and it's involved in this one as well. I think that's a throwback to the early Spawn books. But I love it. I'm a big fan of all the new Spawn stuff coming out. The Gunslinger one, I
like the Redeemer story, and that was good.
Yep. It's all gravy right now. I'm actually this Spawn extended universe is hitting the superhero part of me again, to where I've kind of faded on some of the other Marvel and DC stuff. This is filling the gaps for that. So, big fan, love it. Can't wait for the next one.
Awesome.
My next book is the Spider-Man Life Stories. I don't have a copy of it, but if you want to do the whole shtick.
Yep. So Spider-Man Life Stories number 1 annual.
Yep.
By Chip Zdarsky from Marvel Comics.
Yep.
Bueller.
Yeah.
Got to tell me.
Yeah.
Was it good for you?
It was so good for me.
All right.
And J. Jonah Jameson would agree. Did you read this one?
I have not yet.
Okay. It's the annual that came out of nowhere. I don't know why they did it, to be totally honest. Just get some money or whatnot, which is fine. But it's all about J. Jonah Jameson and his hatred for Spider-Man. And it literally goes through him being in prison for like 30 years, 40 years. And every decade, he's just hating Spider-Man more and more. And dealing with this and stuff. And it's just well written. It looks nice, and you just really feel
his hatred and everything, and his family is like coming in. It's like you need to let it go, and he won't do it. And finally, in his last years of his prison, he kind of comes to terms with it and stuff like that. And then he gets out of prison, he deals with some stuff, and then I don't know. It's just it's a very touching moment at the end when they reintroduce Peter Parker and stuff like that. And there's like a note or a book or whatnot that's kind of based on J. Jonah Jameson, and he kind of just he lets it all go. And I thought that was pretty cool. So I thought it was great. It kind of came out of nowhere. I wasn't planning on reading it or getting it, but when I did, I was like, man, I'm glad I picked it up and read it. So there you go.
Awesome stuff. Yeah, that's one that everybody that I've talked to has really enjoyed it, so I'm looking forward to reading it.
And that's by Chip Zdarsky, your little buddy.
He's my buddy.
Yeah, there you go. So what are you going to be reading next week there, Bob?
So I'm going to read Marvel Dark Ages #1.
Yep.
I'm going to read Batman Fear State #1.
Okay.
And Firepower #15.
Number 50. Nice. I'm not going to be here next week, but I'll just tell you guys what I'm going to be reading. Spawn 321, The Dark Ages. I'm going to read that as well. I actually already looked at it. It looks really cool. You guys are going to want to get Dark Ages by Marvel. I'm excited for it. And there's one called Almost American, which I don't know much about, but it's by Aftershock. It's a new book. I'm going to check that out for myself and see if that's any good.
All right.
So some pretty good, but I think you're going to like Dark Ages. I was pleasantly surprised.
Awesome stuff.
And I'm actually adding it to my pull list.
Nice.
I don't do that very often.
No, you don't.
So there you go. So that's our Was It Good segment for all these Was It Good books brought to you by Comics on Coffee. Like I said, go to their website and their code Bueller, save 15%. Buy some coffee. Tell them Bueller sent you.
It's good coffee, too.
It is very good coffee.
Yeah.
It's my second favorite. Well, mocha. I gotta give it the mocha. All right, let's move on to our random thought segment brought to you by our magnificent Patreon members. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
And Bob really doesn't know what we're talking about on here, so I'm just going to ask Bob some questions about some things. So I recently, CGC made a post on Instagram or whatever, okay? And I made a comment and they deleted it because I'm very controversial.
Oh my gosh.
But they made a comment on there about, hey, guess what? We're now going to be grading video games, okay? And from what I understand, they can barely get through grading comic books right now as far as the wait times or whatnot, you know? And I made a comment, and yeah, it was a little smart-assy. Mm-hmm. You know, I said, I think I said something like, is it true that I can conceive and give birth to a child faster than I could get a book graded from you? But I put it in a nice term.
Okay. Just tell everybody how you greeted Howard Chaykin at the con when you first saw him there this last month.
Hey, asshole.
Right. So he's very couth in his, you know, the way he presents things when he first meets somebody. So let's just take that right off the bat.
Yeah. So anyway, hey, asshole. That's pretty much what it was.
It was.
And but we're good friends, so it worked out. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so I put that on there. I go, all jokes aside, you know, is this true that it takes around 9 months to get a book graded? And then somebody screenshotted it and said, they deleted this. It's not there. And sure enough, I go there and it's gone. It's not on there. And they have every right to do that. No big deal. Okay. Then I started talking to that person about the delays that they have and everything and stuff. And I've never had a book graded, so, you know, it's not my thing, but I found it interesting. And so I'm curious to see what Bob says. So right now, the grading, as far as like regular grading and getting it back to you, it's a long time. It's 6-9 months. That's not an exaggeration. And then there's something called Fast Track that you can pay to get it Fast Track, and you're supposed to get it back from the day they receive it within like 14 days or 2 or 3 weeks, something like that. Okay, and I asked about that, and the gentleman said they have a workaround. What they do, and tell me if you've heard this before. But you send the book into them, and they don't mark it as received. They just have received pending. They know they got it. Post office says they got it. They got it 3 days ago or whatnot. And it sits there as pending receiving for weeks, for months. And then finally they put it in received, and then they do the grading, you get it back in a couple weeks. And you paid for that extra fast track. But their loophole is putting it in pending receiving. Have you heard that?
Yeah,
so this is an actual practice.
Well, hold on a second, because I think people are looking at this and thinking that they're deliberately doing this. That's not the way it is. They have been so inundated with books that they receive by the day.
Sure.
And when your receiving is coming in and it's 3, 4, or 5 times bigger than what it was a year ago, it takes a while to get through and process, making sure that it's going to the right account number and all that type of stuff. And so when it used to be, it would take them, when it would get in, you'd see it maybe show up the next day.
Yeah.
Now they got so much that they're backlogged just on their receiving.
Sure.
So it's not like they're, that this is a loophole that they're using to get around Fast Track.
Yeah.
It's just that particular day that it actually was received is still in the backlog waiting to be received because they're doing it by day.
Yeah. But that's not what you want to hear when
it's not.
When you're paying for it.
Right.
It's like I paid certain extra money for a Fast Track that said you will get this back within 14 days of receiving. And then, you might not want to call it a loophole, but let's be honest. It's a loophole by them not marking it received. They could mark it as received. Yeah, it's here. It's gonna take us a month to get to it, but it's here. I don't want to send someone to somebody and be wondering if they got it for a month.
Sure.
Okay, nobody wants that. I'd rather you tell me you got it and know that they have it. And then, it's going to take me a couple weeks to get to it. I get it. I'm glad that you have it, though, because I know it's not lost in the mail and stuff like that. So it's a little... When he told me, I go, are you serious? He's like, oh, yeah, this happens all the time. I'm like, that doesn't sound like a good business practice. And the main reason that came up is because they advertise now that they're doing video game grading. It's like, don't you think you shouldn't bite off another chunk when you're still having trouble trying to deal with your main service that you're known for? Instead of going to cards and now video games, and now they're gonna grade thumb drives for all I know. I don't know, but it's like you should. I mean, I don't use the service, but when I hear stuff like this, it's like, is that true? Is that how it goes? And I ask people, like, yeah, that was all the time.
It's highly frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, for people to use the service like you do, like you guys probably do. I mean, I don't know. It would drive me nuts, and I always go back to the thing. It's like I hear all these problems and negative things about them, and I'm sure there's great things about them, don't get me wrong, but I'm always surprised that, like, even with all the problems that they have and people repeatedly have problems with them, they still throw money at them left and right. I mean, it's just like, take my money, take my money, take my money.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's frustrating, I guess, but it is what it is. So.
Yeah. I mean, it started to change drastically about a year and 3 months ago.
Yeah.
And one of the things that started to happen, this is my take on it. One of the things that started happening was people are sending in books, and the more business you have, the tighter you start putting the reins in on your grading. And so a lot of books that could have been 9.6 or 9.8 started coming back 9.6 or 9.4, and that started frustrating people because they want to flip those, And so when CGST, they started noticing people were sending in the 25 book pre-screen lots, right? And so now all of a sudden you have all these people sending in these full 25 book pre-screen lots, and they I don't think they were prepared for it.
Yeah.
And it's just gotten worse.
Yeah.
I sent in with Eric. I had a bunch of books pressed by him. I sent my books in the beginning of March. They weren't actually received in until April 3rd.
Yeah.
And here we are. This is the beginning of September now, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And for the last 3 weeks, it says scheduled for grading.
Yeah.
It used to be when it said scheduled for grading, you'd see it would be done the next day.
Yeah.
Here it is 3 weeks later, and it just yesterday was switched to their grading and encapsulating, right? So, I mean, from the beginning of March up until now, that's how long it's taken to get to this particular lot.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous.
You said something there, they weren't prepared, and I think a lot of people will agree with it. And that's what frustrated me. They weren't prepared, but then, even though they're not prepared, they're still adding more to their plate. It's like, hey, we're not prepared for this, but you know what? Let's add this. Let's add card grading. You know what? That worked pretty well. Let's add another grading service.
Right.
So if you're not prepared, why are you adding more stuff? Take care and be prepared of the main thing you're doing. And then once you're all caught up and you're good to go and you have a flowing system, then you can tackle something else. And you learn by that,
It's the same thing that happens to any company, though. You have to keep up with what the business current standards are. And if you have your competitors starting to grade games and you don't offer that service, you lose business. And the only way to start that type of business would be to bring in people who know how to grade games instead of taking away from your current business, which is how they justify that. That's the only reason I can see them doing that. But you're right. Get your stuff under control first before you go into something new. That's how every company basically shoots themselves in the foot. And they're doing the same thing.
You also lose business by having a 9-month turnaround.
This is true. There are a lot of people.
It's a double-edged sword, you know.
A lot of people starting to go with CBCS just because of that turnaround.
Yep, it is what it is. Okay, so there you go. That's our random thoughts. That's our whole show for today. You know, it's good having Bob back here. Like I said, it's literally been about a month since we've done the show together or seen each other. So appreciate having you back. Glad your surgery went good. Like I said, your mouth is looking pretty good.
Thank you.
It was looking horrible before, so much better improvement.
There you go.
You got a bad mouth.
Hey, all right. Dude, get away from me. You
But you got anything coming up on your channel this week at all?
This week, I did read some comics, so I'm going to hopefully do a review video this weekend. Of course, we're filming this on Saturday, so hopefully tonight or tomorrow I'll do that. But one of the things that I've collected over the last month that have got a lot of that's come in, I may do a haul video on all the martial arts comics that I've been in. So, cool. So look for that.
You like that martial arts stuff?
I do. I really do.
There you go. You looking for that fight with one of the YouTube dudes?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you know,
for sure.
I want to remind everyone next week, Bob is taking the chair here, and Jennifer will be the co-host. Very excited to see how that goes. I'm really excited to see how it goes, really.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
And so tune in for that next week. We don't know what the topic is. That's up to Bob and Jennifer to figure that out. And make sure you let me know by Wednesday before I do the preview video, or Tuesday night, or Tuesday afternoon. Probably
okay.
And then also want to say Rose City Comic Con is coming up. It's about 2 weeks away. We're going to do like a get-together with people on probably Saturday. I think that's the plan. Going to go down to the bar or something like that and hang out during the con or after con. I don't know for sure. But if you're in the area and if you're going to the Rose City Comic Con, you want to come and hang out, we're all going to be there. A bunch of YouTubers, some YouTubers from outside the state are coming, Rogue Traders coming, and a bunch of our friends. So it should be a lot of fun. The more the merrier, to be totally honest.
I can't wait for that.
Yeah, I mean, they might cancel all the guests there, but we'll still be there.
Yeah, we'll still be there.
Yeah.
Only thing I'm not looking forward to is, my back and my weight has been an issue lately. Like when I was at SummerCon, it was hard for me just to walk all the way across the floor.
Yeah.
And so I may have to do that motorized thing again.
You could do like a cosplay of like a corpse.
That'd be cool.
And put you on a stretcher.
Right.
We'll just wheel you around. Or dead Kingpin.
Yeah. But, to make sure that I'm safe and taking care of myself, I may have to do it. It's embarrassing, but I'm willing to do it just because I can't miss being with everybody.
Yeah, man. I might steal that little rascal from you. I'll zip around in that.
Yeah, for sure. It was fun when I was Kingpin on it.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so we're going to be hanging out at Rose City Comic Con. If you're in town or if you're going, let us know. Come hang out with us. I don't have a booth or nothing at the con. I just kind of hang out, walk around and stuff. And I'll probably be there all 3 days, but maybe not for the whole thing or whatnot. So it should be a lot of fun. But I think that's it. I appreciate everyone, sticking around. Thank you so much for everyone who has participated in the auction. There's more stuff to come. Marvel is this coming weekend. Should be a lot of fun selling the Marvel books.
Awesome.
We'll see how we do there. So I just want to say thank you to everyone. Appreciate everybody. I think we covered everything. Bob, you want to take us out?
Sure thing. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You know what to do. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye. Awesome.
I remembered it.
You did.